In the present era, the general population is familiarized with Parkinson's disease due to its huge relevance. Even though its importance, when you ask people about the biology and physiopathology of the disease, they do not neither explain it nor understand. Hello, my name is Paula, a future biochemist, and this is Pausa Science. Check it out. Oh, there you are. Here we are in another video talking about Parkinson's disease. So if you want to know the answers to more questions, stay with me. Let's get started. First question. Let's answer this one. I have heard something about the BRAC system. Is this related to PT? In PT, there is a staging system named as BRAC system. It is known that the first harmful changes occur in olfactory bulb and medulla oblongata. These ones correspond to stages 1 and 2, and in here, the autonomic and olfactory disturbances occur. Afterwards, the disease progresses up to the substantia nigra and midbrain. These ones correspond to stages 3 and 4, and in here, the sleep and motor disturbances happen. In the last stages, the cortical regions are impaired, and due to them, the emotional and cognitive disturbances happen. Having this system in mind, we can appreciate that by the time the motor symptoms appear in the patient, the disease has been developing years prior to it. Second question. Oh, there you are. We have another question. What are the main events that occur in PT? Okay, this is a very interesting one. The main physiopathological events that take place in the Parkinson's disease are the following: the formation of Lewy bodies, alpha-synuclein misfolding and aggregation, mitochondrial dysfunction, neuroinflammation, and oxidative stress. As this is a very extensive question, we are going to answer it one by one. The first one is the formation of Lewy bodies. To set up a little bit in history, Friedrich Lewy, a German doctor, observed peculiar aggregates in some neurons of brains of PD patients. Years after, Titrakov, a Russian neuropathologist, also saw clearly these aggregates, and honoring the first discoverer, named them as Lewy bodies. Lewy bodies are abnormal pathological aggregates that tend to accumulate in the cytoplasm of neurons in PD. These large compounds are made up of a major component called alpha-synuclein. Evidence states that this formation of Lewy bodies happens together with the dopaminergic neuronal death that we mentioned in the previous videos. Nevertheless, these bodies are not essential for the death. The second one is the alpha-synuclein misfolding and aggregation. This protein that has huge relevance in PD pathogenesis, it is a small nerve terminal protein which has 140 amino acids and it is encoded by the gene SNCA. In a healthy brain, this protein remains unfolded. We know that this protein has two different conformational states, which are monomeric and stromeric. And in a normal brain, there is an equilibrium between both states. In situations such as PD, where missense mutation can appear, such as A53T, that is the most famous one, this equilibrium is disrupted between both states, which can accelerate the onset of the disease. The third one is the mitochondrial dysfunction. To start with, mitochondria are organelles that have essential function as ATP producers and signal mediators. Having said this, in 1989, in patients suffering from PD, they observed that there was a defect in the mitochondria located in the substantia nigra, and therefore the mitochondrial complex 1, a fundamental complex for the electron transport chain was impaired. Alpha-synuclein has been seen that can interfere with the normal functioning of the mitochondria. In this case, the dynamics are not controlled, therefore there is neuronal dysfunction, and finally, everything ends up in death of the neurons. In normal situations, there is a little proportion of this protein that locates inside the mitochondria in equilibrium. In other cases, such as PD, it tends to accumulate, causing the impairment of mitochondrial complex 1. The fourth one is the neuroinflammation. Paminergic neurons that are affected in PD are the ones that express proteins of MHC class 1, which facilitate exposure to cytotoxic T cell death. In other words, the actual dopaminergic neurons that are affected in the disease are the ones that express or attract these proteins that facilitate the inflammatory processes. The last one is oxidative stress. Due to the mitochondrial dysfunction, the levels of oxidative stress are increased in brains of PD patients. In a physiological condition, mitochondria are producers of reactive oxygen species. When the situation gets worse, like in PD, this production can be magnified due to the accumulation of alpha-synuclein, which can lead in the damage of mitochondria. The suppression of all these pathways can be done thanks to the pharmacological treatments. Third question. Let's continue. What is the prodromal phase? Okay, the so-called prodromal stage starts 12-14 years prior to the diagnosis of the disease. This term makes reference to a phase in which the clinical symptoms haven't appeared yet, but the neurodegeneration is on process. By the time the clinical features are visible in the patient, 80% of the neurons have lost. Fourth question. Oh, there is another question. Let's do this. What are the characteristic symptoms of PD? Okay, in this disease, there are two types of symptoms, the motor ones and the non-motor ones. The motor symptoms are the classic findings that are gathered together in a group named as TRAP, which stands for T, tremor, R, rigidity, A, akinesia or bradykinesia, and P, postural instability. It exists a scale named as Hoyne and Jar scale, in which it can analyze the damage caused in the patient by these symptoms. The stage 0 means no sign of Parkinson's disease, and stage 5 means disability, in which the patient is bound to a wheelchair. Non-motor symptoms over the years have acquired more importance in the diagnosis of PD, as they have been more and more appreciated. These traits can appear in late stages, can impact in life quality, promoting the disability of the patient, and can vary among different individuals. Fifth question. Let's continue. Can you name the main motor symptoms of PD? The main motor symptoms of PD are tremor, rigidity, bradykinesia, and postural instability. The first one, tremor, is the most common trait in PD. It can affect the distal part of one extremity, although other body parts also can be affected. Some patients can present postural tremor, which means that it can appear years prior to the onset, and it has a more disabling and notable condition. The second one is rigidity. 89% of sick people experience this trait. It is characterized by an increase in the resistance of the patient when a limb is mobilized. This feature can cause a decrease in the levels of motion. The third one is bradykinesia. This is a normal PD symptom in which the movement of the patient is slowed down. As a consequence, the motor tasks are simplified. It is present an apparent difficulty to plan, initiate, and perform activities in which the control of movement is required. These PD patients also present hypomimia, which is the loss of facial expression. there is a decrease in the rates of blinking of the eyes as they keep longer open. What's more, the patients show remarkable changes in gait, which ends up in the decrease and finally disappearance of the arm swing. The last one is postural instability, which can occur either earlier or later in the disease. This is characterized by the loss of postural reflexes of the patient and usually occurs after other cardinal symptoms have developed. This instability usually generates falls in patients, and a long time, this fear to fall can cause the loss of balance control. Sixth question. Let's continue. What about the non-motor symptoms? Which are they? Okay. The first non-motor symptom in PD are sleep disturbances. The pathology in PD causes huge affection in anatomical structures and neurotransmitters that play a key role in a sleep cycle. The most common one in Parkinson's disease is the REM sleep behavior disorder, which is characterized by the absence of energy in muscles during sleep, in REM sleep phase. This results in violent motor conduct while sleeping. The second one is cognitive and neurobehavioral abnormalities. 84% of patients showed in a study that they had cognitive decline, and 48% assumed to have dementia. This was associated to other psychiatric disorders such as depression, anxiety, apathy, and hallucinations. Also, some patients can present obsessive and compulsive behavioral characteristics such as compulsive shopping, binge eating, and craving. The third one are the sensory abnormalities. Regarding sensory symptoms, 80% of patients found to have the sense of smell reduced or completely lost. This comes out years prior to the set of the motor traits. Some patients can present some kind of pain. It can be one limb pain, but also oral, genital, or abdominal pain. Okay, so this is the end of the second video. I hope you enjoyed learning new things about Parkinson's disease, and I will see you next time. Ciao!